What's up, fam? Hey, welcome in, man, to the week 14 of the 2021 Savings Challenge, where we're going from 0 to 15K on this journey in 2021. And man, look, it's been a up and down ride all the way up to week 14 so far. And man, last week we already just eclipsed the 3-month mark, and now we're looking at what's going forward in week 14 and what's coming up with a couple of the moves that we made in the portfolio and just giving a status of what the portfolio is. But we're going to do it a little quite different this time. I'm actually going to go right back to how I started this challenge off, where I actually bring the WeBull desktop to you, where we basically go over the charts, we look at what's going on in the news, and we talk about a couple of things that's going on with the portfolio. So we're going to get directly into what's going on with the portfolio management of the account, and then I'm going to actually bring up the WeBull desktop, where we're going to actually talk about it a lot more in depth. So let's just start with, the portfolio is down currently $181.55 on the week. That's another 3.5% down this week. That's bringing me my total to $4,773 on a week. So, hey, man, look, it is what it is. We're going to have to see how it's going to perform in the next couple of weeks here, but I'm going to keep on adding the money like I keep on saying I'm going to do, because still at the end of the day, when these stocks rebound, I'm going to make significant gains on them. And that's the way that you have to look at it, is that you have to stay locked into what your portfolio is, understand the convictions that you're making in the market, and understand how you're going to maneuver going forward, and what you're going to keep on adding to, and what you're going to just wait for the market to recover on. But the main thing that you have to understand when we're talking about this 2021 Savings Challenge is that the sell button is broke. I'll talk about that a lot, but I just want to make sure I keep on emphasizing the sell button is broke, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more here in depth right now. So let's just talk about what's going on with Airbnb. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the WeBull chart, and then we're going to get directly into it. Okay, if you look at what's going on with Airbnb, right, you see that it's actually currently down on the week. All right, but as you'll see that we actually had a terrible performance of what's going on with it this week. It's actually down over 5% over the last week, which is okay. I mean, it has this little rough and tumble times that it's going over with. But just looking at the indicators here, you'll see that we have exactly what's going on here. And we go back 1 week and just look at what's going on. You'll see how it performed in the last week. You see a lot of red moving to this market. And this is what I was saying about Airbnb last week, when I was actually talking about how I was going to pause on actually buying more Airbnb. See, what I've seen with Airbnb as of late is that it's a little too expensive at the point of the price that it's at. So it needs more time to actually to navigate what's going on in the water. So I think that this is going to be a thing that you're going to have to deal with when it comes down to it for a while, is that it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to trade in this range of 160 to about 220 for a while, until they actually give you a little bit more data. And that's going to come when you're talking about revenue and things of that sort. So with Airbnb, it's just going to take time for you to actually see the fruits and labor of what you're actually putting in, because Airbnb has to show that they can get those expense margins down. And when I talked about it in my 2021 breakdown of Airbnb on my Buy to Airbnb, I'll leave that link down below, is that, hey, man, look, they have a vision of where they want to go with expense margin, but until they actually can show where that expense margin is going, you really don't have a gateway to see where this price is going to be actually trading at. So I actually think they're going to be highly successful in growing revenue, especially in 2022 and 2023, where I think that's going to actually lead up to 40% growth year over year in those two years consistently. But we got to get to that point, and we actually got to see Airbnb start to grow. So that means we have the summer travel looking forward to. So we'll see maybe a bounce back with a lot of the recovery stocks. And that's the weird play about this one, is that do you see it as a recovery stock, or do you see it more than that? So let's get into my other portfolio management things that I have here, right? So then we also know we already talked about Zomedica Core, right? And Zomedica is actually taking a beating right now. Actually, Zomedica is down actually over the last week. They're currently down, sitting over 15% over the week, but currently down in my portfolio over 50%, almost 50%, sitting at 43% down. That's $301 that I'm out on. Is actually sitting at 124. So there's a lot of news articles out there right now that's saying that the meme stocks, which they're calling Zomedica, classified as a meme stock currently right now, or a momentum stock, however you want to look at it. But it's basically they're looking at it as that this stock is going to trend downward in the next couple of months or so. But we'll see how that goes, because they did release True Former, and they are automatically thinking that they're going to actually be able to grow that that invoice, that revenue out of the true form of being released to the market for veterinarians to use. And so we just got to be consistently going where we're at right now. So I actually told you that last week I was going to start focusing on NEO here in the short term to actually grow my portfolio with that. But at the same time, when you're setting that price like this with Zomedica, I may have to turn back my focus and actually average down in this point, because right now I still believe in the company. I still believe what a true form is going to be able to do for the market. And I see it as an opportunity right now to increase my position and ride it on the way back up. So we'll see how that navigates in the next couple of weeks or so here. If it keeps trending in this direction, it's getting a little too juicy not to start adding to it again. So we'll see where I'll go from there. So then the next one would be also it would be Immersion Core. And Immersion Corporation is the one that's always talked about when it comes to the haptic technology that you can find in the PlayStation 5 controller. And you know how that goes, man. Look, it's one of those things too where I'm looking forward to what's going on with this stock. I'm not looking for this stock to be very successful in 2020 and 2021, but I also know that it's going to be highly successful in 2022, especially when we get more feed coming in from a lot of the PlayStation moves that's going to be made. But this is not the only thing that is actually involved in. You know, it's actually moving into automotives and it's moving into healthcare technology sectors as well. So this is going to be one of the things where you want to make sure that you're in on this play. If you're not, especially when it's at this cheap price that it is right now. Currently in the portfolio, down 15% on this. I have it in my actual my private stock as well, but this portfolio is down by 15%. So what we're planning on doing, I'm more likely going to be adding to this position too, with the medical core. It's actually getting very juicy in week 14 here to not take a chance on actually adding to these positions. So let's talk about the next one in the stock. And the stock that I actually have in a portfolio of is NEO. So looking at NEO, currently down this week, right? On it for 2.25%. I actually have this as a 9.67% position in the portfolio right now. That's only equates to 12 shares, but that gives me $456 in market value that I have on NEO. So NEO on the week is trading down 4%, which is fine. If it keeps trading down, I'm going to keep adding to this position too. So this is one of the things that you have to understand is what's going on with NEO and what's going on with the rest of the market. Even with Tesla trading sideways over the week, even that they gave great news on its deliveries in the last week, it still has not traded where it needed to. We saw Tesla hit that 700 mark, right? Let's go and look at that. We saw Tesla go ahead and hit let's go to the weekly chart, right? So we'll see a cap where Tesla got raised all the way up to 713, and then it came back down off that candle, and that's where it's been settling at. So we are seeing what's going on in the market currently is that it's a lot of trading sideways going on. So as long as it's trading sideways, we're going to have to deal with this roller coaster of a ride that we're on right now, which is fine. You keep on buying in these positions that we're at, and you're seeing that a lot of green candlesticks showed up at the end of the market for last week went for Tesla in the after hours. So we're hoping that we see that trend trajects into actually going into the next week. So what's the play for me going for in week 15 for 2021? I'm going to sit steady like I always have. You know, it's not a payday. Payday won't be until next week. So once payday come, I'll deposit some more money into my WeBull account. And what I do is I keep on adding to these positions. So right now I'm still heavily focused and I'm ranking these by position. I'm heavily focused on NEO right now. If Tesla still pulls back a little bit more, I might add there. If Immersion Core keeps on pulling back, I'm definitely going to add that. And Zomedica, I'm going to keep adding to it too. So when it comes to Zomedica, if I can find Zomedica at $1.10 or below, I'm more likely going to start increasing my buys on Zomedica at that price point, just to have that actually average down for me so I can actually ride that wave back up when it actually bounces back. Now, what is going forward that I'm looking at? Now, remember, this is the heavy week that we got coming up. So let's talk about it. You're not going to see a trade here, but Coinbase is coming up. The IPO is actually released on Wednesday. So this is one of the things that I'm actually looking at. Now, you want to talk about my private portfolio. You want to be paying attention to DraftKings. This is another stock that you want to keep your eyes on as it keeps on growing over time. And then also you want to look at Palantir. Palantir is going to give you an opportunity to keep buying here. Anything at 21 and below when it comes to Palantir, this is where you want to keep adding that position at. Even when it comes to Square is trending down a little bit right now in the after hours went from Friday, but Square is on a rebound back this week. So watch this move as it actually starts to move in the right direction, especially after that piece by JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, how he talked about what's going on with the fintech sector and how the fintech sector is actually being more competitive than the big time banks. So this is something to pay attention to, especially if you're invested in PayPal or you're invested in Square. So pay attention to that as well. And also, man, look, let's just talk about what's coming up on the week when it comes to earnings calls. So you see what we have going on this week. For according to Earnings Whispers, what we should be looking at in the week 15 is what we are looking at right now. And the ones that I'm paying attention to this week is actually going to be JP Morgan Chase, because all the banks are reporting, Wells Fargo, Bed Bath & Beyond on Wednesday, as well as they're all releasing before the market opens. And then you'll see on Thursday, we have Bank of America actually releasing, which is going to be interesting as well, with BlackRock reporting as well, the #1 hedge fund index, the hedge funds in the world. And then we'll get a report from Delta, which that's going to be huge too, because we're going to start seeing what the numbers are looking like when it actually talking about rebounding back from travel during the summer. It's increasing ticket fares coming in. It's people increasing their bookings at that point in time. That's going to give us a little headway into what's going on with that. And interestingly enough, eHang is out there as well. eHang is that company that's actually getting into the eVTOL space, the electric vertical takeoff and landing space. So pay attention to that too. So for me, it's going to be a huge week that's coming up. You got to be can't be stagnant. You got to be participating in this market every time you get a chance, and whether that's every week or every other week. You got to just pay attention to what's going on in your portfolio, and man, you got to stay patient and you got to understand what's going on. So for me, if you got comments below, man, hey, leave them down there what your favorite stock is. I'll add it to the chart. But man, we'll put it on my watch list and we'll watch it together as it grows. I plan on starting doing a little more live action when it comes to this. So pay attention next week. I may actually be able to get in here next week and actually do some of the market closing type stuff with y'all, where we can actually go live and stream that live for you. So hey, if you feeling this content, man, hey, hit me with that like, leave me with that hashtag fam down below. And definitely don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop high content like this. And man, you already know how we do over here. Until the next video, y'all stay safe out there. Peace.